Hey guys, how we doing? Brian Maples back with another video. Sorry it's been so long. I've been doing some updates on my phone recently. It's just more convenient to do that way, and it takes very little time. And I'll continue to do those. But I wanted to bring you guys a a little more of a comprehensive video today. And I want to talk about ACOS. It's been such a big deal to so many people. And I want to talk about true ACOS or total ACOS versus, um, what you spend and what you see in your PPC sales. And this is something I've been harping on for a long time. And I think a lot of people that do PPC understand this. So let's go ahead and talk about this. And I'm going to talk about some other things related to brand registry too that I found out, which are interesting and also maddening at the same time. So before I get started, if you guys could like and subscribe or just subscribe, I'd appreciate that. It really helps me out. If you find this information useful, thank you very much, guys. And I appreciate everybody who watches these videos. So, first of all, let's go ahead and talk about what we have here. So, if you look in the yellow, on the yellow screen, that's my PPC spend for the month so far as of yesterday, right? The day wasn't over yesterday, but that's my PPC spend for the day, or excuse me, for the month. That would be November 1st until yesterday. Now it wasn't completely finished, so it's probably closer to 2,000, but we'll just use the numbers that we have to give an example of where we are. So from what you see there, I spent $1,829. Yes, I spent quite a bit on PPC. Now my PPC sales were 7,800. Okay, for a total A cost, if you see there in the orange, of 23%, 23 point, basically 23.5%. Now that's not great. It's not bad either, though. It really depends on what your margins are, right? So I don't really care about that number. Now, I don't want to say I don't completely care about that number. I do. I care about my total weight cost ultimately. However, if I have something running at 60, 70%, 100%, I'm going to want to change that or make that go down. But sometimes the key words that you have will take weeks and weeks to truly show out. So, for example, I went in and checked some words yesterday, right? I hadn't checked it since the beginning of the month. I had some words that were 80, 90%, which was like ridiculously high, okay? However, when I clicked on the lifetime, and this isn't the campaign that I was looking at is not a very old campaign. It's only been running for about 2 months, maybe less. So that campaign said the lifetime of that particular keyword was like ridiculously low. It was like 17% or 16%. And if I were to go ahead and cancel that, not knowing that, thinking, well, it's at 80% now, it can't possibly be a good word. But that's not the case. So they tend to change throughout the year, and that makes PPC even more complicated. Now, this might be related to certain seasonality of certain things, but what my point is here is that you don't want to completely dismiss a word until you have enough information. And I would say, honestly, if you're spending $10, $20 on a word, sure. Like, you want to consider lowering that bid. And, if the A cost is really high, it's just eating up all your PPC budget, especially when you're first starting. But as you go on, as you spend, and as you get more information, sometimes there's keywords that are really high for a couple weeks that if you're just launching, you wouldn't know that. Sometimes the A cost is really low, and you just don't understand that yet because you don't have enough information. And I'm trying to tell people this, and I'm trying to make it clear. So it's a dance, PPC is almost an art and a dance. It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of patience, and it takes money. Um, as you can see, I spend a lot of it. My oldest campaign, my biggest campaign by far, has a total 12% ACOS, which I think is really good. Okay. Now, lately, that same campaign that's a 12% lifetime is running at a 27%. So during the holidays, during Christmas time, during the certain times of the year, it just sells better and it just has a lower ACOS. There's more people shopping for it, right, during the holidays. So it makes sense that my ACOS would drop. So ACOS for a keyword today and in Q4 isn't necessarily going to be as good as ACOS for a word in Q1. And I want people to understand that sometimes it's okay to go back and revisit a word, especially if you've lowered a bid a lot and then it's getting really low ACOS and making some sales. So, it just makes things more confusing by what I'm saying for most people. I'm sure they're probably like, well, what do I do then? How do I know which words? You got again, it's a dance. You have to constantly be looking every couple weeks. I would recommend maybe 2 weeks and kind of see where you're at with that and kind of see how they respond. Um, let's say I'm selling a heater. If I'm selling a heater during the wintertime, it's likely going to have better ACOS because more people are looking for heaters, right? And that's more of a seasonal product. But that's just an example. So if you know your industry, if you know your market, you can better prepare for that, and you can better adjust your spending and your PPC for that. Now, sometimes I'll see a word and be like, "Man, that's not making me any sales. The ACOS is terrible." And then I'll go back and I'll look, and like the month before, it sold 12 items or 10 items, and my ACOS was like 18%, or 17%, or even lower. Sometimes it's like 5%. So they do vary greatly. It just depends. And in order to get that information, it takes a long time, and you have to build a campaign slowly. And sometimes it's okay to go revisit a few keywords. And if you find out they're giving you nothing but spending your money and not getting you any sales, well, maybe it's time to move on from that keyword. But not always. And I found this to be the case on a lot of keywords, that different times of the year or different times when I'm 1 month before they were really good, and then the month after they're not so good. So I try to go maybe like medium spend on those. It's hard to. I can't give you a cookie cutter answer to this because ACOS takes a lot of work. Running a campaign takes a lot of work, and everybody does it a little differently. Some people split it into broad and phrase. I personally combine them, but I tend to do it's a phrase, and I've talked about this with some of my students and other people in some of my videos. If it's a broad, the broader it is, 4 words or more, I'm going to make that a broad word. If it's like 3 words, I'm going to make that a phrase. And if it's 2 or less, I'm going to make it an exact. That's just how I do it, and I do put them all together. What I also do, which there's advantages and disadvantages too, I think, and I think in some respects more disadvantages, but it just depends. I don't split my products in. If I have like products, I don't split them necessarily into separate campaigns. I'll put all those same like products under the same campaign because I expect the same keywords are going to be converting. Now, yes, you may find if you have some different variations, maybe they won't convert as well. But I think a lot of that, the case is you need to simply wait and see which keywords truly come out as the winners. Um, so that's the big thing for me. And also sometimes, and I don't know how the algorithm works so if I put 6 items right under one campaign, and all those 6 items are variations or like, they're alike, right? So there should be similar keywords, right? If you look at the keywords for these, if you use Cerebro, or excuse me, not Cerebro, Keyword Scout, or whatever you're using to pull up the keywords, right? Um, those keywords should generally be the same. Now, unless you have something specific in like a bundle that's going to make it that much different, they're likely going to convert for the same keywords. A big mistake I found some people making is that they tend to judge that keyword very early, then they're adjusting it after 1 week and dismissing it, and then that same keyword is converting for another variation. I think you need to give it more time. And I know nobody likes to sit there and lose money and watch it as the ACOS goes up. Sometimes it just takes a couple weeks or a month or a couple months to get more information in order to see if it truly is converting. But that is kind of my rant for the ACOS as far as PPC goes. Let me talk about what we have here in front of us. So again, the yellow is my spend. The PPC sales are 7,800, 23% ACOS. Not spectacular, but not bad, right? Now my margins are very low. Okay, um, but I don't care necessarily about my ACOS. Again, I do want to adjust. I don't want to have 1 or 2 keywords just killing me for spending and not getting me any sales. I will, in fact, adjust those. If you see down in the red, those words right there, I'm probably going to take a hard look at those, look at the past on those, and kind of see where I'm at there and see if they're converting and if they're actually doing well. Now, 30, 40%, 50%, it sounds really high, and it's clearly not making me money if you look at the yellow over here. However, my total sales for this period for the month so far are $24,000, almost $25,000. And my total ACOS, which is what really matters, is 7.36%. Now that's dropping from 4%, I think is what it was. So it's dropped more than 1%. Now, that's my total, and that's really ultimately what matters, and that's what I care about. So if I can run some keywords at a higher ACOS, and I can take the badge, or I can take other people's sales, and I can get them from my own, sometimes it's okay to run it at a 40% ACOS, or a 50% ACOS, or a 30% ACOS. Now, I will look to adjust those because they do change weekly or every couple weeks. Usually is when I check it. But I want to take the sales of everybody that I can and get as many badges as I can. And what I mean by a badge, I mean if I'm selling Pepsi, right? Maybe I want to be the keyword to search for Diet Pepsi and Cola, and I want to be Amazon's choice for cola, right? So I'm gonna try to get that keyword for cola. Okay, that's a badge when it says you're Amazon's choice for that search term. Now, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it does give you more, I think, trust with the customer. And in addition to that, the more you sell, I've heard people say that that's a bad thing. Now, true, that can be a bad thing because with the more sales, you also get more feedback, potentially negative, and more returns, and there's more to deal with. However, I think, and it's going to depend on the product, but on the flip side of that, what more sales also give you is more reviews. If you made a good product, they should have decent reviews, and you get 5, 6, 700 reviews, and people really trust that you made a good product, especially if you're at 4.5 stars or higher. So that's really advantageous, and the more sales you make, the higher you're organically ranked for keywords. So that's really I think more advantageous that because FBA is dealing with the returns. Yes, you're going to have some returns, but you're also selling more. So there's advantages and disadvantages, but I prefer to go stronger on my PPC and get more sales. But also that brings up an inventory issue where you're trying to constantly replenish inventory and it costs a lot of money, which is where I am. So there's disadvantages and advantages to selling at high volume and lower margins. My margins used to be better, but there's competition, and I don't want that competition to go higher. Excuse me. I don't want, I'm not saying crush the competition, but I want to make it harder for everybody. I want to get the sales, and I want my product to sell, of course. I mean, like anybody else, why wouldn't you, right? I was there long before many other competitors, so I'm going to use that to my advantage by one, I have more inventory I can send in. I can sell more. I have a lot more reviews, and I have good ratings. And that's the goal, is to get yourself established where, people can't come in and take more of your pie, right? And that's just it. I want everybody to do well, and I don't wish anybody ill, but I am going to do the best I can do for my product, of course. So that being said, this is the highest ACOS campaigns. If you look here, I have 4 different campaigns running. 2 are running at 19% and change, and 25 and 27. So this one's actually interesting. And another thing I don't have a screenshot for, I would like to show it, but my conversion rate on this is actually my low cost campaign, this 27% one right here. Now, I talked about in the previous video using Cerebro, pulling up low volume keywords and basically bidding very high on those keywords. Because when people do see them, even though even though there's only maybe 200 or 300 people looking at that keyword a month, you can hopefully get 50 of those people to look at your item if you're bidding really high. So you can get sales down there on these ultra low. I don't want to say ultra low, 400 or lower. You can get sales down there, and I'm proving you can do it. I had 80 some sales already. I want to say last month or this month. I think I'm already at like ridiculous amount of sales this month, like 80 sales for that campaign alone. Now I'm running at 27%, which is really high. But what I also noticed is once I got my pictures redone, the conversion rate, which I've seen conversion rates at 0.03, or excuse me, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6 isn't bad. 0.3 is the very lowest you really want to go. My conversion rates on this low volume campaign are like 2%, 3%, not 0.3, like 2%, 3%. They're like astronomically high. One's like 9%, and that's not off of just a little. I mean, it's not off a monster sample, but it's off a pretty good sample. So my conversion rate since getting those pictures done has been fantastic. Which that just goes to show you the difference between having good pictures and mediocre pictures, right? Because if you have bad pictures, your conversion rate won't be as high. So your conversion rate is just how many people click, how many people see your image, how many people click on that image. My conversion rates are off the charts, and that's my newest campaign. So that really shows the true picture, no pun intended, of what the actual pictures do for my listing. Whereas my older campaign that's been around for over a year, you're not going to see such a huge bump unless I do it by more recent time, right? The last few weeks. You're not going to see such a huge bump in my conversion overall for the lifetime. But if I look in the last couple of weeks or the last month since I've had the new pictures, then I can truly tell if that conversion is going higher. And it is. It's going higher across the board. So imagine how many more sales that makes me because I have those better pictures. That's the importance of good pictures, right? Having those pictures, and that's also where I'm going. If you heard my last video with A plus content and enhanced brand content, which it used to be called, that from what I saw in a video, and I'm not an expert on it by any stretch, I just know about it. And I was watching this video. The gentleman giving the video was saying that could increase your sales up to 30%. 30% is massive, and even if you paid $1,000 for that, and if you're selling, just a couple $100s a day, you're going to make that up in no time. 30% increase in sales, a permanent increase. And again, maybe you get 10%, but even so, it's still a massive increase in sales. So you really want to think about getting brand registered and getting enhanced brand content, otherwise known now as A plus content. Now, what that is, it's just basically HTML, and it has a certain setup. And the way he described it, they have a formula for it. And again, I talked about it in the last video, or one of my last videos, and it's just amazing. So I'm really curious to see. But ultimately, a total ACOS, which is your total sales, that includes your organic and your PPC sales. That's really what matters. And mine's at 7%. I'm happy with 7%. Okay, 40%, 36% here, 54% here. Big deal. I am selling at a total ACOS of 7.36%. That is more than profitable, and I am totally fine with that. So that brings me to the next image here. I want to let you guys inside of my numbers here just for the month so far. So this is from November to November 30th. So this is for the full month. Of course, we're in the middle of the month. This was as of yesterday, last night. So we hadn't finished up the day yesterday. This is incorrect. The PPC didn't fully. This counts for PPC too. So you can see, my revenue for the month so far and my net profit. I'm at a 19% margin. That's pretty good for me right now. I used to, again, have a higher margin, but that margin has dropped quite a bit simply because competition has ramped up. I've lowered my prices. I want to be more competitive, and I want to kind of squeeze them out if I can. Now, I'm never going to be able to hold them off forever, so maybe I'll have to keep my prices where they are, but I will certainly take an $800 profit day. And normally, before the Q4 started and sales really started picking up, I was around 300 to 400, sometimes higher profit a day, which is really good. I'm not going to complain about that. I am truly blessed. Now, that being said, because I turn over so much inventory, all the money that I do get, I don't pay myself out because it all has to go back into buying more inventory. And I still haven't caught up, believe it or not. I've had such huge days, right, where you make $800, even $1,000 in a day, but I don't have enough payout to revamp my inventory because it's selling fast, which is a great problem to have, but it's also troublesome because I could run out of stock. And I'm trying my best to keep in stock, but you need quite a bit of credit and, quite a bit of buying power to do that. The worst case scenario is I run out of stock in the middle of December and then I lose $20,000-$30,000 in profit, right? Because I can't fulfill the items and other people will take those sales from me. I'll lose rank. It's a really bad scenario. So I've been trying my best to keep everything in stock and do my best. And typically what most people don't know that are new sellers is that your prices actually go up almost always during the holidays. I usually sell at a much higher price during the holidays. So I will probably raise my prices here very soon. Another thing, and I think this Q4 is an exceptional year. And what do I mean by that? It's going to be the biggest Q4 ever, in my opinion. I just feel it. I can see the numbers. I can see the people shopping. My numbers have never been better. It's coming, this wave, and I might run out of stock before we even get to Black Friday the way it's going, which is great. And again, not bragging, but it's just the numbers are great, and it's just so hard to stay in stock because of the limits that Amazon's imposing. Um, what I think is going to happen, and I'm pretty certain of this, and I think there's ways you can get around this, is that you can probably raise your price, right? And I think because of the limits everybody's been given, I think you're going to see massive sellouts on Q4 in December and after Black Friday. I think you're going to see people selling out left and right. I think if you raise your price, not only will you sell them all, but you'll be the last one standing, and you'll be able to sell at a much higher price. You'll be able to command pretty much whatever price, within reason, whatever price you want, and you're going to make a killing. So you may want to consider just raising your price and letting people sell out, because people will sell out, and it's going to be very much like the March and April and May, where I saw mass sellouts in my market and in many other markets, like sanitizer disappearing and all these big things disappearing, where the people that were left and that had stock made a killing off of it. And that's what's going to happen, I think, in Q4. Amazon cannot handle the incoming, and neither can the shipments, the shipping companies. There's going to be delays. There's going to be mass people out of stock. I think if you raise your price and just wait it out, you're going to do better. That's what I see coming, and that's what I think the approach I'm going to take. I'm going to at least raise my price by probably 15 to 20%, which is typically what I do around the holidays anyway, and hopefully make more profit and do less PPC. So moving on to one last thing I wanted to talk about. So I am now brand registered, and I've mentioned A+ content. I had a really interesting conversation via email with seller support. So I tried to enroll in the Vine program, right? So I have a new item coming in. I want to get enrolled in the Vine program. Now, you can enroll in the Vine program, I think, if it has less than 30 ratings, from what I've read. So you can only do that if you're brand registered. But not only do you need to be brand registered, you need to be the brand owner, which, of course, I am the brand owner. However, Amazon, and I don't know why, so I emailed tech support and said, look, I'm trying to get into the Vine program. It won't let me. It gives me an error. I'm the brand owner. I'm the brand my brand's registered. I don't know how to do it. Can you help me? They write back, oh, you have to be the brand owner. You have to have a registered brand, and you have to be the brand owner. I said, okay. I wrote back. I said, I don't understand. I am the brand owner. I am brand registered. Can you help me? Like, what do I do? They write back, well, no, we can't verify that you're the brand owner. And I write back and I say, well, I've sent in my documents. My company owns this brand. You can look at that under my account. I don't understand. I verified my documents, verifying that I am the brand owner. I am the owner of the company that owns the brand. Why can't I get into the Vine program? I don't understand. They write back, we cannot help you anymore with this issue. Close the case and don't allow it to be reopened. So that was fun. So, not giving any information on why I can't get into the Vine program. So I look up more information, and I come across this chart. Okay, and above this, there's a button you can push. Now, my brand's already enrolled in brand registry. There's a button you can push, and you simply have to say you're the brand owner, and you want to be recognized as the brand owner, which gives you all of these check marks. Now, why is that such a big deal? You can't get in the Vine program if your brand is registered and they don't recognize you as a brand owner. Now, I have no idea what awaits me, what they're going to require to prove that I'm the brand owner. Probably an act of God to prove that I'm the brand owner. Probably have to make lightning strike at 3 p.m. in the middle of a field to prove that I'm the brand owner. But whatever the case may be, I'm going to somehow have to prove I'm the brand owner, I'm sure. Now, why they can't just look at my account and see that I am, in fact, the brand registered owner, I have no idea. I don't know. And the worst part about calling is that they don't tell you what you need to do to figure this out. They give you general answers, and it's just infuriating because there's nothing you can do. You just write back, you ask a common sense question, and you get a riddle back, asking you what exactly it is that you need to do this. It's like, some super riddle. You have to find a treasure. You have to look through thousands of forums and figure out why in the world, you're not recognized as a brand owner. Which, who in the world would know you need to be not just brand registered, but also recognized as the brand owner? Like, you find out something new every day. So, anyway, my rant's over. Apparently, I am not recognized as the brand owner. Therefore, I cannot use brand analytics and the brand dashboard and the customer reviews and all this other stuff. So, I am waiting to hear back what they need, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So, anyway, guys, I really hope this video was informative. I kind of opened up the books and showed you what's going on there. Numbers vary very much, and I hope the ACOS that I covered, the information on that, hopefully makes sense and gives you a little more clarity as to kind of how I go about my ACOS. I wish there was, again, a cookie cutter way to do it. It takes time, it takes experience, and it just takes getting to know your market and your keywords, and that takes a lot of time and money. I've spent the money, certainly, and I've definitely put in the time. So please like and subscribe, or just subscribe and don't like. I hope you like it. I hope you guys found this useful. FBAcommute@gmail.com. If you have questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them. Also, I do some coaching at patreon.com /FBA commute. Now, I do want to give a shout out to one of my students, Luchin. My man's killing it. He took my advice, but not only did he take my advice for the product, he went above and beyond that. And he created differentiations that I never would have thought of, but he also took my advice and incorporated that as well. And he did a great job. There was no easy button. I'm sure if you were to ask him, he would say it was not easy. It takes a lot of hard work to get things right. He just launched. First day, he had 2 sales. Second day, he had 7 sales. Third day, and the day wasn't over, he had 12 sales yesterday. That's amazing for a new product. I think he's on his way. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Now, things could change. We are going to do some price adjustments, but I'm really excited for him. That's already, hopefully, a student success story. I feel very strongly that his listing and his differentiations are going to crush it. I think he's the class of his niche. I really feel that he will go to the top, and that he is, when you look at what he offers and the quality of what he offers for the price that he offers, I feel like he blows the competition away. So anyway, guys, I am if you've watched the video this long, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Please subscribe, and if you have any questions, please email me. Have a great day, guys, and God bless everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you.